Welcome to The Problematic Gaze with me, Dr. Lee Arnott.
And me, Dave Moore.
Each episode we take a piece of pop culture from yesteryear and ask ourselves the question, could you get away with it today? And if not, why not? And what does that say about society and culture then and now?
And before we take a deep dive into our chosen topic, we'll look at the news events of the day. We'll also look at the TV landscape and we'll look at the pop charts, just to put our chosen topic and year into context. Got through it all in one.
Very good, very good. Now we are super excited today because we have been joined at PG Manor by two very, very special guests. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Hilary Michael Whitehall.
We're in the house, Michael Whitehall.
Hello.
Did you say
PG Manor?
PG Manor,
Yes.
I like
It's
it. You
PG
see,
Manor, and then we've got PG Towers in London.
Yes.
love it. You
So,
see,
yeah.
we do ours from Whitehall Towers.
Yes.
So, yes, same
Right,
thing. Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
you are a two-centre podcast.
Yes.
We are.
I like
Yes.
it.
We've got our gazers. I know you call your listeners DLs,
DLs,
don't you?
yeah.
On your
Yeah.
podcast, Wittering Whitehalls.
So we're doing a mashup of gazers and DLs.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Who knows
Okay.
what will happen?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, we have Whitehall Towers and then we have the BBH, which is the Banbury Bolt Hole, which he
When
does.
you say using the word we, I have nothing to do with any of this.
Nope, I just wheel
stuff
you
that
out.
you do.
And then off you go, and I
All
never
your
know what's going on.
DLs and the DDBs and the LNER and the LMS and
What about LGBTQ?
yes.
Yes.
That's
We got
us.
that. We
Yes,
got that.
we've
Yes.
covered that.
We've
yeah,
got that.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Dr. Lee is wearing a T-shirt today that might indicate our subject.
Yes.
On
Yes.
brand.
I'm on brand today
Yes.
because today we are discussing the Avengers, not the Marvel Avengers, not the movie Avengers.
That is so problematic, isn't it? You type in the Avengers,
Yes.
and up comes all that stuff.
Yeah. We are discussing the original Avengers,
The proper.
the proper Avengers, with Mrs. Emma Peel, John Steed. And what's your relationship to the original Avengers? I'll throw that question to you first.
Well, I was actually a little bit post Emma Peel. I was more of a Purdy.
New
you see.
Avengers.
Yes.
Yes.
Joanna Lumley, your great mate, Michael.
Yes.
Clunk, we've got name drop one in early doors.
I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of name dropping today.
And sorry, Mr. Whitehall, would you like to explain your big connection to the Avengers?
Did I have a connection?
You certainly did, Michael Whitehall.
Diana Rigg I knew very well. She
Yeah.
was very sweet.
Yeah.
She had to put up with Patrick Macnee. I had to put up with Patrick Macnee too because I was his agent.
Clunk, name drop number 2. There we go. 2 in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. How was
Nice
Patrick
man. Exhausting, but nice.
Macnee? Okay.
Exhausting but nice is how I describe Lee sometimes.
Yes, it is. What's your relationship to the Avengers?
Well, I obviously know of it, and I've seen it as a student on late at night, but it's one that kind of passed me by, really. What about you?
I'm obsessed with the Avengers. I'm preparing myself for several illusions to be shattered today.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I remember when Channel 4 first started and I was 9 years old and they started to repeat it. And I just fell in love with Diana Rigg and Patrick Macnee, and since then have just adored it all of my life.
Did the black leather help?
Oh, crushing on. It was.
She looked bloody good in that
She
black leather.
bloody
didn't she? Yeah.
really did. And
Yeah.
I have to say, until far too recently, I used to love a pair of black leather trousers.
Oh,
I can't
okay,
lie. And I
okay.
still have in my head, what would Mrs. Peel do in situations?
Okay,
So
I want to come back to the Mrs. Peel situation as well.
before we do,
Yes.
as is tradition on this podcast, we've got some news events, because this episode we looked at was called The Quick, Slow Death, broadcast on February the 1st, 1966. And we've got some news events of the year to discuss with you, see what you remember
I
and see
assume the World
opinions.
Cup will be discussed.
We will get to that.
Yes,
And also the controversy surrounding it. On March the 31st, the Labour Party wins the general election, which gives Harold Wilson more power to pursue his reform agenda with mixed success. While his government gets notable social reforms like the abolition of the death penalty and the decriminalisation of homosexuality, many of his economic and industrial reforms are undermined by union-resistant economic crises and political opposition.
Does that sound familiar? Does that sound a bit cyclical?
Blue Sachon.
Do we think, Michael? Yes.
It's almost like the more things change,
The less thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
I do remember, I mean, moving on one decade, I do remember the day, I can almost remember where I was. I can remember where I was when Harold Wilson resigned. That was a big shock.
Yeah.
I was standing in the sixth form centre at school, and everyone went, "Have you heard? Harold Wilson's resigning." We all went, "Wow!"
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is his entry.
Yes. Yeah. Second time he's
second
won.
time.
Yeah.
My problem with Harold Wilson was that you'll probably be surprised at this, but I was quite an ardent conservative in my youth.
That's a big surprise.
And indeed, at one point, I was even I wasn't a candidate, but I was certainly on a sort of list of potential young conservatives. He was a very, very socialist. So I had nothing really in common with him. So I don't know why I've told you that, because I didn't even know him.
There was
I'm
also
meant to be here dropping names, and I can't
the
help
other thing
with.
that you always talk about with Harold Wilson was the fact that that pipe was just a prop.
Yes, it was. He didn't smoke. He smoked
Really?
cigars.
Gosh, so that was
He
the man
smoked
of the people
cigars. We
kind
got
of,
them in a cigar shop in St James's Street that I used to use because I had an office St James's Street. And the man who ran the cigar shop the other side of the road, he said, "Do you know Harold Wilson at all? He's a regular here." And I said, "But I thought he smoked a pipe." No, that's just a prop. But actually, he liked a nice big Havana cigar, 2 or 3 a day.
Wow.
This is political
my-
gold, isn't it?
My illusion
Gosh.
shattered.
Yeah.
Sometimes even put a cigar into his pipe. So, I mean, not if he was out on, but when he was having a quiet evening at home, he'd have the pipe and then he'd stick the cigar in it and then puff through the
How
pipe.
do you know that?
I just know. I know these things. I don't like being asked, how do I know?
Okay.
I just,
You just know. Okay.
I hope you didn't know these two. The Moors murderers, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, were found guilty on the 6th of May 1966.
All right.
They were convicted for the murders of 3 children committed between 1963 and 1965. The case had shocked the country for its savagery and depravity and still casts a long shadow.
I mean,
So,
I am obsessed with true life murders. I've read many books, as have you. One stage you wanted to do a television series about it,
I
didn't you?
did.
And was told that it was not appropriate, etc.
It was
and
too
then
strong.
It was too strong. There was a very famous book written by Emlyn Williams. Was it Emlyn Williams who wrote the book? Which was
there was an adaptation on TV a few years
well, they
ago.
they then remade it through the eyes of the boy who had to carry out the
Yes.
murder with his brother-in-law. Do
Yeah,
you remember?
Smith,
And then
yes.
he shopped him. But that picture of Myra Hindley is haunting. Particularly
Really
the fact
is.
that she was a woman and she was the one that actually those children would not have got in that car without there being a woman in there. That was what was so
Yeah.
shocking, wasn't it?
There was a documentary recently on Fred and Rose West. And it was a similar situation. The women wouldn't have got in the car if she hadn't been in the car with him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, so gird your loins for our World Cup fact.
Here's the football-shaped elephant in the room.
Okay.
On July the 30th, England win its first and only FIFA World Cup, beating West Germany.
Excuse me. So, oh no, it's the Euros. So
Yeah.
I was going to say, so nearly. Oh, okay. I'll shut up. Yeah.
Beating West Germany 4-2 at Wembley Stadium. Okay, so Jeff Hurst scores a historic hat-trick in the final, never to be repeated. However, did he actually
Did it cross
score?
the line?
Did it
Of
cross
course
the
it
line?
did.
Did it cross the line?
Is the correct answer. Did he cross the line, Michael?
I've no idea. I don't even know who he is.
What, Jeff Hurst?
No, never
Scored a
heard of
hat-trick in the World Cup
He
at
was
Wembley.
a vicar, wasn't
No,
he?
he was a footballer,
Oh,
Michael. Bobby
there
Charlton.
was a vicar called Hurst. I knew.
Okay,
I don't think.
No.
not this one. There was Bobby
Father
Charlton,
Geoffrey Hurst.
Jeff Hurst, Bobby Charlton,
Yes.
Nobby Stiles, Gordon Banks.
Yes.
You know all those names. Yeah.
Bobby Charlton
Martin
was the man
Peters.
with the most severe Robinson sweep
Yeah, the comb
that I've
over.
ever seen.
Oh, yes.
A Robinson sweep is what Robert Robinson
Yes, ask the
Yes.
family.
used to have. I mean, my hair is thinning out a bit, but the idea that I'd be taking strands across would not
Well,
be
it
a
just
good
draws
look.
attention to it, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It
Rather
does.
than
Absolutely.
It's like we don't live in a country where you might get wind. I don't
Oh my
understand
God,
it.
exactly.
It's like, how
I
do you
know.
not leave the house and just
Yeah.
so... But they think it was the crowd because it's on home turf. They think
It's
it was
a bit
all
like the
that.
penalties that are given at Man United, as if you're going to take issue with the Stretford end at Man United. The referees will just give a penalty.
I'm nodding like I know what...
Yeah, I was like, oh, Please know what to talk about.
Football, sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
Are you the football aficionado then in your
Literally
family?
love football,
Jeez.
yeah. I had 3
Really?
older brothers, so there was no hope. I could not get near that television.
Wow.
Fortunately, I think one of them did like the Avengers, so I was able to watch that.
Okay.
But generally, weekends were dominated by sport.
Gosh.
So, yeah.
Did you watch the World Cup final in
Yes, 'cause
'66,
you-
Michael?
I don't think I did. No.
I don't know.
No.
Although
I
you
wasn't-
you didn't like
I
football.
wasn't
at that
interested
point,
in
did you?
football
No.
until I met her. And then, even worse, she said, "You will have to be a Leicester City supporter."
An
And I
owl.
said, "What?"
Foxes.
Foxes.
I said,
Wow.
why
Very
would
good.
I
Owls
I
Shepherd.
don't want to
Yes.
support anyone. I don't want all this Arsenal and all that stuff. I mean, your father supported
He did.
Arsenal, and our children
Support Arsenal.
support Arsenal.
But I support
But
Leicester.
Leicester, and I got stuck then with Leicester, and she's still hanging in there with Leicester. And I wanted to know if I'd like to come with her to Filbert Street, is it
No,
called?
that's
Walnut
the-
Road, isn't
And
it?
that was the
It
other
was
one.
Filbert Street.
What
It's now
is
the
it
King
now?
Power Stadium.
The King Power Stadium.
Because
This was
I-
recently.
Yeah.
Would I like to come and meet and be in the box
of
with Mrs. Vardy,
Rebecca.
Jamie
Right, your
Vardy's
best
wife?
friend.
And I said to Hilary, I think quite selflessly, I said, "Hilary, come on. You don't want me cluttering out of the box.
Didn't
You
really.
go there on your own and have a lovely day. You
So-
don't need to look after me."
That's name
And
drop
she
number 3.
said,
Classic.
fortunately, said, "All right," and off she went. I
Went
thought,
off with
"Oh,
my
thank
nephew, who's
God."
also a Leicester
The
supporter.
idea of going all the way to Leicester to sit in a box, quite a call if you're not interested in football,
It is a big call.
to go
Yeah.
to
Go
to
sit
Leicester.
in.
I studied in Leicester, my
Oh,
first
did
degree,
you?
yeah.
Oh,
So I have a
right,
real
at
soft
Leicester
spot
Uni.
for it. Leicester Poly back in
Leicester
the day.
Poly,
Yeah.
okay.
So I have a soft spot for it,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it was insane on
Did
a
you
match
go
day.
to Filbert Street?
Honestly or not honestly?
Dr. Lee? You didn't, clearly. Okay. But you did get a degree.
I did.
Yeah. Right. So just to finish that off, it definitely did.
Okay.
Okay,
we have that's
fine.
the
We'll take
final
your word
word.
for
Yeah.
it.
The
Because
final
it was
word.
just, we didn't have the computer technology. So from an eyesight point of view, it went over.
Fine.
But they then scored another goal anyway, didn't they? Just to make sure.
Oh yes, because it was 4-2, and then
That's
that-
right.
and
So
then it
they
was
did get
2-2,
another goal
yeah.
just in case it hadn't gone over.
Yes, yeah. It is known as the Wembley goal in various parts of the world.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
in England. It's quite interesting. It shows how national myths get created and perpetuated by what information is left out
Yes.
when discussing and what
Exactly.
carries on through.
It's like the Hand of God goal from
Yes.
Maradona.
I think
I think
I remember seeing that.
it definitely
Yeah,
is his hand.
Oh, totally.
Definitely
I know that.
socked
Yeah.
in, yeah.
It's like netball.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from football.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Beatles. The Beatles album Revolver was released on the 5th of August 1966. It marked a turning point in their music, showcasing a more experimental studio technique and diverse styles.
Does that mean drug-induced?
Yes.
Wow.
For that read, drug-induced, yeah.
Yes,
what
maybe-
was he called? The Maharishi or the...
Yeah.
Had they done their Yogi bitch? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure they had quite got going, but
They're about-
I think we're on to name drop number
Yep,
4.
that's
So,
fine, don't
Michael
worry.
Whitehall, please.
God.
Beatles.
Ringo Starr rang me one day and asked me
Fine,
whether
there we
I'd be his agent. And I said, "Oh, I don't think I'm the right person for you, Ringo." He said, No, I'd love to be. He wanted to do some acting jobs and stuff. And I met him and he was charming. And I thought, why not? And introduced him to my partner, called Julian Belfridge, who was very, very hooray. And I said, "Oh, Julian, do you know Ringo Starr?" And he said, "No, I don't. Very good morning to you, sir." and Ringo sort of said, "Oh, yeah, cheers, mate. So, Mr. Starr, would you like a glass of something?" I could see Ringo thinking, I wonder whether this is the right agency for me. There was that doubt going across his face.
Well, you had Ringo Starr, you had Bob Geldof, and then you had
Bob.
Adam Ant.
I had Adam Ant, who he called Mr. Ant all the time. Yeah, Adam Ant.
And Tony Hadley from Yeah.
What a
Couldn't
roster.
get a job for any of them.
No, never got a job for anyone. No.
Yeah.
So we didn't get Adamant a job. We didn't get Ringo Starr a
Didn't get
job.
Bob Geldof a job.
We didn't get...
Bob Geldof
Are
a job.
you sure we didn't?
No, and you
we
didn't get Tony Hadley. We did go and see Tony
But Tony Hadley was sweet.
Yeah.
He was really nice. Bob Geldof, sweet is not a word that comes immediately to mind. Yes.
Yeah, never picked up a bill either, apparently.
No.
I'm going to say that rather than him.
Okay.
You're not going to get into a rant.
No, it's not a
Legal
rant, but he
department.
was always asking me to have lunch. Come and have lunch. Where should we go? And all that. And when the bill came, it used to sort of, it was there on the table, but it would sort of curl up. It would be there so long, like those old books you find in bookshops where they're all brown around the edges of the pages. And there it would sit, the bill.
I'm not sure that there were many actors that would ever pick up a bill. I mean, if actors go out with their agents, it's a given that the agent's paying.
No, I think that's unfair. One or two of my clients were very generous.
Okay.
I can't think of that.
Richard Griffiths, actually, he would pick up a bill.
Yes, Richard Griffiths.
Nigel Havers would pick up a bill as well.
Nigel Havers would pick up.
There were one or two, but they
Richard
were the
Griffiths
exceptions
would.
to the rule.
Yeah.
Mind you, that said, we went out for lunch with our agent yesterday, and there was no suggestion that we were going to pay the bill because he's an agent.
We need to get an agent.
That's what you need. Yeah.
Shall we move on to the next one?
So finally, in 1966, the BBC begins experimental colour television broadcasts, starting with Wimbledon.
Yes.
And these tests paved the way for the official launch in 1967.
Yes, which of course was instigated, as we watched a documentary the other night, by Sir David Attenborough.
Yes. Yeah. He was
who was
controller
the
of
head-
BBC Two,
exactly,
wasn't he?
and he said, if we're going to do this colour, we need to do something big and give it a proper trial, which is why he came up with Wimbledon, which was a genius idea.
Absolutely. All that green.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, very much so.
And weren't the balls white before that?
They were, yeah, wooden rackets, white balls.
And then they went to yellow because it showed up better on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. David Attenborough, your hero.
Absolutely. I mean, I just follow David Attenborough as the years go by. And when he gets to a certain age, I think, well, come on.
If he can do it.
If he can do it. And here I am still. And David, or Dave, as his friends call him, although I wouldn't never dream of calling him Dave, just carries on.
Yeah. 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nearly there. We saw him quite recently when we went to we were very lucky because our daughter did a little bit of PR for it. We went to see Ocean, which is his new documentary, which is fascinating because I went with a heavy heart thinking it's going to be so depressing. But actually, he has a positive message because he thinks if we can fix the ocean, which is doable, that'll fix climate change.
Right.
Because the biggest sucker up of carbon dioxide is the ocean.
Yeah.
So we need to fix the ocean and then that'll solve the problem. So there was hope in it.
It was an amazing evening.
It was.
That was at the...
Festival Hall.
Yeah.
King Charles. David Attenborough. So yes, colour TV. Well, we love colour TV.
Yeah.
Not that we got anywhere near one in our family in
Well, this is it.
1967.
It's not until the mid to late 70s that the majority of people start to have colour TVs across the rest of the country.
We used to have to go to the posh neighbours to watch anything in colour.
I remember still having black and white TVs. Not the primary TV, but you know, if you had a TV in your room
I
in the
remember getting
80s.
a portable, black and white portable for Christmas one year when I was about 10.
Wow.
It was like,
Hello. Yeah.
Twiddly knob to change the channels.
Made it.
Yeah.
Made it.
And of course it
Big
shut
round.
down.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember the days when it used to shut down in the morning and then it would come back on at lunchtime and then shut down in the afternoon. You had the test card.
Yes. Yeah, that girl.
Yeah.
With the
balloon.
weird
What was she
green
doing? Was she on a harp? There was a harp music at one point. And the noise that I remember most with watching black and white television in its early days is this noise. Fuck. That's my father saying the bloody thing because it had stopped and he did that and it jumped, all that jumping. And then he'd say, my mother would say, not in front of the children.
The other thing I remember actually probably around this time was because I was the youngest of four. When the aerial went, it was me that would have to climb on top of the television and hold it in a weird position so that they could watch something. And I'd go, can I put it down? No, not yet.
Don't move.
At least you're only inside and you weren't outside like Rod Hall.
Oh, gosh. Yes, bless him. R.I.P.
Bless him.
Rod.
R.I.P. Rod Hall.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yes,
to the top 10 TV shows of 1966.
Okay.
This is quite fun.
I'm excited about this.
Now, The Avengers comes in at number 11, so it's just nudged outside the top 10.
Yeah. So, number 10, we have No Hiding Place.
Yes.
Classic police
Former
procedural.
client. Raymond Francis.
Right.
And Raymond Francis was very suave and always wore good suits and looked and talked very posh. And that was he suddenly became a star from being in No Hiding Place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good. Okay, let's see if Michael knows somebody from each one, or you've worked with them.
All right, Raymond Francis, first one.
Yeah, so number 9, The Rat Catchers. A gritty ITV top-secret espionage series that captured the Cold War tension in a realistic, grounded fashion.
Michael, I'm just going to throw a couple of names at you that were in The Rat Catchers. Okay?
Yes.
Gerald Flood.
Oh, Gerald Flood.
Yes.
Flood, yes.
Glyn Owen.
Yes.
Yes. Philip
Very
Stone.
Welsh. What?
Philip Stone. No. But further down here, we've got Reginald Marsh, John Abernary, and Geoffrey Palmer.
Oh, Geoffrey Palmer. We love Geoffrey Palmer.
Yeah.
Not a very exciting cast.
Freddie
in terms
Treves.
of looking down. Freddie Treves,
Yeah, we
former
like him.
client.
Former
I
client,
knew you'd find a former
Wanda
client.
Ventham.
Wanda Ventham, Benedict
Mother of,
Cumberbatch's
yes,
mum.
she was in it. Hannah Gordon, Edward D'Souza, Raymond Huntley.
Raymond, yes. Raymond
found a client.
Huntley.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Raymond, when we had an office party every year in my agency with Julian Belfridge, which was called Leading Artists, and we did have quite a lot of leading artists. We had this party every Christmas, and it started at 7 o'clock, but you could come a bit earlier if you wanted to. And it was 7 o'clock because it was in our office, and we closed the office at about 6.
And then got ready for the party.
Just gave us a bit of time for the party. Every single year at 6 o'clock, the doorbell would ring, and there would be Raymond Huntley, who was a crashing bore. He was a very, very good actor, but a crashing bore. And he would come in, and I would then say, "Oh, Raymond, come in to my office. You are a little bit early." He said, "Well, I thought it was very quiet here." And I said, "Yes, well, it was quiet because the invitation was for 7, and it's only 6. Anyway, come and sit down." And there was one other person who always followed him about 5 minutes later, was an actress called Ambrosine Philpotts. Famous, distinguished, elderly lady. I mean, very elderly lady. And she would say, "Oh, am I early?" And I'd say, "No, Ambrosine, there's nobody here. There's nobody coming." And I said, "No, they're all coming, but I think you're a little bit early." And she said, "Who is that who I think it is in there?" And then she'd go into my room and go, "Darling, how are you, Raymond?" "Oh," and he lived, "Oh, Ambrosine." So I had the two of them now sitting in front of my desk. I'm in my desk. Raymond's there, Ambrosine's there. There's silence because I'm thinking, how do I extract myself from this? They've both got into the wine, so they're all.
So they're all.
I'm not going to sit and look at them for the half an hour. I go. I'm just about to get up. And then Raymond says to Ambrosine, "Are you working at the moment, darling?" And Ambrosine says, "No, I haven't worked for months." And Raymond says, "No, nor have I." And then they both turn round and looked at me. And I wanted to say, "Why don't you just fuck off out of my office? You're an hour early. Okay, you haven't got any work, but that's your fault, not mine." But of course I didn't say that. I said, "Oh, Raymond Ambrosine, I'm so sorry. It's just been a bit quiet at the moment for you. But I will be lots of work on its way."
There's been many a times as a director when you're dealing with actors and what you actually say and what you really want to say to them are completely different things, but you always have to err on that side of just be nice because you will have to work with them for potentially the next 10 years.
There was a very famous occasion when there is a swear word involved, when David Lean was directing Passage to India.
Passage to India and Dame Peggy Ashcroft,
who played one of the leads in it.
Yeah.
And Dame Peggy Ashcroft was way, way, way over in the distance on the top of a mountain, and David Lean was literally miles away, with the camera set up that had taken days to set up, and there were sort of extras involved with everything. And the only way they could communicate was via walkie-talkies. So the first assistant director was over with Dame Peggy, and David Lean was the other side with the camera. And he said to the first assistant, "Can you get her to look left?" And so he said, "Oh, Dame Peggy, I wondered, would it be possible for you to..." David Lean was just wondering if you could possibly look left because it would just make the shot. And then she said, "Yes, I'm not sure. Could you just ask Sir David why I'm looking left?" The response came back.
And David Lee said, what is she talking about? Why doesn't she just look left? Because I want her to look left. Tell her that from me.
So then the first assistant director said, Stephanie just wondered if it was possible. She said, "Yes, but I just don't understand why he wants me to look left." So back it went, and David Lean said, "Just tell her to fucking well look left." At which point the first assistant said, "I think you just better look left, David Peggy. If you could just do that, it would just make our lives so much easier."
As a first assistant director, I've been in that situation so many times when the director's screaming in your ear,
effing and jeffing,
and you still have to be so diplomatic.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Take Your Pick.
Yes, Take Your Pick with Michael Miles, I think it was called, the man. Very tall. He had a slightly odd accent, which would have made him probably Australian or New Zealand. So to all our listeners from Australia and New Zealand, I'm sorry to have described you as having slightly weird...
It's our third biggest territory.
Number 7 is Double Your Money, ITV.
Number 6 is Coronation Street. Number 5 is a show called The London Palladium, which I guess is like a variety.
Yes.
Well, that was Bruce Forsyth, I think.
Yeah.
That was a huge, it was a stay-in show.
Yeah, it still was when we were kids, wasn't it?
Sunday
in the 80s.
Sunday night at the London Palladium.
Yeah.
Well, it was Jimmy Tarbuck, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The whole thing about variety theatre is still a thing, especially outside of cities, in provincial theatres. The variety show was still a kind of draw.
Yeah.
So this was on your telly, so you didn't have to go out and watch them instead.
Yeah.
So.
I was really lucky last year. I managed to go backstage at the Palladium when there was a full house there, and I got an access thing for somebody who I was going to see backstage. And I stood there and you could hear the murmur of the crowd, and I just thought, how many people have been stood back here in these variety shows? Just the whole gamut. And I just thought, gosh, I'm so lucky just to be able to stand here. I was really tempted just to walk out on stage.
Hi.
Okay, number 4 is Seacombe and Friends. Harry Seacombe.
Harry Seacombe, yes.
One of the goons, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pre the religious programming of the 80s.
Yes.
There was many a Sunday where you had to sit through Highway with Harry Seacombe in the 80s.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
That reminds me of school the next day.
Yeah, then you knew it was that school on Monday morning was an inevitability.
Yeah.
SNBs in our house. Sunday Night Blues.
Yes.
Still get Sunday Night Blues.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I know.
It's like an echo of...
It is.
Yeah. A Royal Gala's at number 3, which is like
Royal
the variety.
Variety
Yes,
show.
exactly.
Yeah.
Number 2 is an odd one, isn't it? Yes, it's called Mrs. Thursday. ITV sitcom about a humble working class charwoman who unexpectedly inherits 10 million and control of a large multinational company.
Right, I'm going to have to look that up because we need to know who Mrs. Thursday was played by, don't we?
It ran for 3 seasons and was huge, and it's just one of the shows that's just been forgotten completely.
Mrs. Thursday was played by Kathleen Harrison.
Yes, very, very good. Very good at playing char ladies.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
she was, I'll do you now, sir. Are you all right?
Catherine Harrison and Hugh Manning.
Yes, he was sort of pompous.
But then we're coming into a client again now.
Oh, really?
Richard Caldecott.
Richard Caldecott. Well, what happened is Richard Caldecott, who I'd known for years, and he said to me, Michael, I know you're very busy and all that. Would you consider being my agent? And I said, I'm Richard. I mean, I love your work, but I'm afraid, I've got so many clients at the moment, and I feel I should just say no to you because I just don't think I could cope. and do a proper job for you. And there were so many good agents around, and I could recommend. A year or more later, I weakened because his wife rang me and she said, Richard hasn't been very well recently. And she said, and so would you consider taking him on? And I said, well, of course I would, And then he died. I mean, very, very soon afterwards. And she rang me and she said, I've got some terrible news and Richard's died. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. And she said, well, there's a funeral at this...
it was Putney Vale.
Putney
Do you know
Vale.
Putney Vale?
Yeah.
The two chapels of rest side by side. She said, would you read?
Would you read?
Would you do a reading?
Do a reading and just a little chat about Richard. And I said, of course, yes, I'd love to. I've been honoured to do that. So I arrive at
Rock up at 3 o'clock.
Rock up at 3 o'clock.
And there's there's a few actors lurking around. And we then follow one of the actors into the left-hand chapel. And
we sit down and the service starts. And they keep talking about her, that she was, much loved and she this and she that. And then I suddenly thought, I don't recognise any of these people.
Apart from this one actor that we followed in.
So I then had to accept the fact that I was in the wrong one. It was the other side of the middle bit. There was one on the left, one on the right. I was on the wrong one.
So we
there was
had
a
to
lot
get
of
up.
tutting when I got up.
And then we had to go into the other one, and there was that thing of the clunking door, when they go, and everyone turns round.
Everyone turns round, and then they're all whispering, what's showing up late?
We then sit down at the front because, of course, they've saved a seat. I said, I thought you weren't coming. Thank God you're here. And
God, you're here.
It's like a double shame. The shame of leaving the first one.
And then the shame of getting into the second one.
It was the address that I had to make. But, I was saying, Richard, I was very fond of him. He was a wonderful actor and everything.
Having got in late to the funeral, we thought, we're going to get to the wake early. So we got up, came out, drove straight to the wake, which was, I always remember it was at the Canizzaro Hotel in Wimbledon, and off we went. And we arrived there. We were pretty much the first people there. We walked into the dreaded tea buffet. And there was one other man there, and he said, afternoon. And we went, afternoon. He said, were you a great friend of Richard's? Yeah. So Michael said, well, I was his agent. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I loved Richard. Yeah. No, marvellous man. And I said, so your connection with Richard is? He said, I was a fan. Yeah, just a fan. I saw it in the papers and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to come and pay my respects.
And he was there and he could hardly get all the sandwiches in.
He got a huge plate full of food.
Sandwiches.
I do like a good wake, he said.
And I said, "Is this your first?" Oh no, I try to get to one of these every month, once a month. So he didn't bother to go to the funeral. He just went straight to where food was being served afterwards.
My great-grandma and her sister would dress up in their finery with their furs, everything, and they'd sit at the front, these people sobbing, and then go to the wake and get absolutely pissed. Grab all the food, then toddle off home. Had a great afternoon out.
Yeah, nice afternoon out, yeah.
Okay, so have we done number one yet?
Number one was Miss World.
Eric Morley.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we certainly wouldn't get away with that now, would we? Although I believe it still goes on. It's not televised, though, is it?
I think it's cable. Should we rattle through the top 10?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we won't have any charts in that.
Okay, well,
apart from Ringo.
Let's see, because there are a few here that you might know.
Yeah, a few I know, actually, looking at this. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 10 is You Were On My Mind by Crispian St. Peters.
Nah.
Number 9, The River, Ken Dodd.
Oh, well, we know Ken Dodd. I don't know The River, though.
We don't know.
Ken Dodd famously had to be pulled off stage by a hook.
Yeah.
Because he would overrun every time.
And he did that as a joke, and it wasn't a joke. It was real.
Get him off stage.
Yeah, he liked a good long show.
Yes, he did.
He was amazing live.
Yes.
Yeah,
I heard that. He was amazing.
Tommy Cooper, the same. I mean, so good.
Number 8 is The Kinks with Till the End of the Day.
Okay.
Love the Kinks. Okay, number 7, My Ship is Coming In. Not Ken Dodd, but the Walker Brothers.
Okay.
Herman's Hermits at number 6 with A Must to Avoid.
Okay, I mean, I know some of the... I mean, I do know Herman's Hermits, and I do know the previous one, but I don't know
the songs.
We find that a lot when we do the 60s, don't we? That we know the artists, artist, but obviously they've had a lot of songs popular.
What was he
at the time.
called, that Herman man?
Peter Noon.
Peter Noon.
That's right. Peter Noon.
Yeah. Okay, one we know for sure. Day Tripper, the Beatles, number 4.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Ringo. Yeah, so we've got the client in there. Yeah.
Tick, tick.
Yeah, number 3, Spanish Flea, Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass.
Oh, I love her.
That's a really good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's the guy who signed the Carpenters.
Was he?
Because A&M Records is his label. So
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, good knowledge again.
Do you know what? I was listening to the Carpenters today on a tangent because I was getting I thought I've got so much to do today, and I was getting a little bit, you know how you do sometimes when you're, and I put my music on and the Carpenters came on, Top of the World, and it just immediately calm me down. That's the power of someone's voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Power of Karen.
Yeah.
Power
Mine
of
is Carole King.
Yes.
Tapestry. Favourite of all time. If I'm feeling fraught, I just whack that on.
Beautiful album.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Having a bit of a resurgence at the moment, actually. The youngs have discovered Tapestry and everyone's raving about it.
Great album.
On TikTok. Number 2, another classic, Keep On Running, the Spencer Davis Group.
Yes.
We'll know that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Number 1 is Michelle by the Overlanders.
Sound a bit Australian,
Overlanders. Yeah.
Overlanders.
Yeah.
Once again, apologies to our listeners in Australia.
Sorry, we love Australia, though. We love Australia. We did a tour there earlier in the year. We loved it. Yeah.
Please tune into our Prisoner Cell Block H episode.
And that was the chart, by the way, for the 27th of January 1966. So there we go. So before we dive into the Avengers, should we have a little break?
Let's do it.
We're now having rosé, I see. Well, some of us are.
We are, as is our want in the problematic gaze, we are prone to a glass of fizz or a glass of wine during an episode. So because it's part 2, we just thought, well, why not? We've had the water, we've had the tea, and this is a nice little rosé from the south of France.
I'm actually gone non-alcoholic because I need to keep Michael Whitehall under control, particularly now that rosé is involved.
There you go, Michael. It's nice and chill.
Might have to keep you two under control as well now that rosé is involved. Yes.
Okay, so we're on to the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Yay!
Michael and Hilary very kindly watched the episode that we're going to chat about last night, didn't they?
They did.
Is it me?
Yeah, do you want to give a bit of information about the Avengers?
I haven't even had a sip of alcohol yet.
Yeah, you might have a long wait because you're going through the script now.
I know, she gave me a big glass.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Avengers is a British espionage television series that aired from 1961 to 1969, initially focused on David Keel, played by Ian Hendry, aided by John Steed, but then Hendry left the show and Steed became the main character. Partnered with a succession of assistants. His most famous assistants were intelligent, stylish, assertive women. Kathy Gale, played by Honor Blackman, Emma Peel, Diana Rigg, Tara King, Linda Thorson. The dresses and suits for the series were made by Pierre Cardin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So The Avengers was produced by ABC Weekend TV, and The Avengers was shown in more than 90 countries. ITV produced a sequel in 1976 called The New Avengers, with Patrick Macnee returning as John Steed. The Avengers was ranked number 17 and number 20 on TV Guide's top cult shows ever.
Excuse me, you did not mention Joanna Lumley being Purdy in the remake.
Well, that was in the New Avengers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Saint Joanna, as we like to call
her. Saint Joanna and Gareth Hunt.
Yeah, let's not do any of the rhyming slangs.
No, let's not go there.
Should I tell you what happens in this episode?
Yes.
Okay. When a foreign agent is involved in a road accident and the body of a man in full evening dress is found in the pram he was pushing, a number of diverse clues eventually point to a ballroom dancing school, and a quick, slow investigation by our heroes, John Steed and Emma Peel, reveals it to be a front for a spy infiltration scheme wherein lonely, anonymous bachelors are replaced with enemy agents. As Mrs. Peel says, do you know they've just arrested a band leader for being drunk in charge of a pram containing a man in full evening dress with a plaster cast on his head, tattoo on his right wrist, clutching a dance diploma in one hand and a garlic sausage in the other? Shall we dance? Take a breath.
All I can say is I think Robert Banks Stewart, who you claim to know, did you know Robert Banks, the writer? I wonder what he'd taken when he wrote that episode. It's quite hectic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, he did some Doctor Who's, actually,
in
the 70s. Yeah, he was quite prolific. He did some No Hiding Place. He was kind of one of those go-to script writers you could call for pretty much everything. But it was quite a hectic...
It was a hectic episode.
It was quite hectic and, dare I say, quite confusing at some point.
I
felt like I I lost it a little bit halfway through, but then regained it towards the end. Are you going to say it was quite simplistic?
No, I was going to say that it was it felt very 60s. It reminded me a bit of The Prisoner, which I used to have to watch about 6 times before I'd got the episode.
Yeah.
I felt that I needed a second run probably at this one, which I didn't do. But it was that sort of 60s look of very stark sets too. That scene where there's, at the beginning, with the agent who's got the bandage around his head, and there's a room with a bath in it and a chair and nothing else.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene where Diana Rigg was poking around in the dance school, and there seemed to be nothing in this room except the black and white tiles on the floor. It was all very stylistic.
Yes.
It was
very
really
60s.
it was kind of abstract, wasn't it? Even almost absurdist. And that's what I kind of remember about the Avengers, was that, you know, this design was very kind of unique to this show, and even the performances were slightly abstract as well at times between them.
You had a few thoughts on the performances, did you not?
Did you?
I never remembered it being so terrible. It was awful. I mean, the acting was awful, the sets were ghastly. I thought it was absolutely dreadful. And there I was, looking after Patrick Macnee and having loads of clients in it and watching it. I probably watched every episode. Otherwise, Patrick Macnee would have been furious if I hadn't watched every episode. But watching it now, I thought, what the fuck? I mean, it was awful.
Did you enjoy it at the time?
Well, I must have done, because I kept watching it, and other people watched it, and then all that talk about Diana Rigg was doing it, and then the other, Honor Blackman had done it originally, whose agent
Another
I was.
ex-client.
So I was very sort of not involved creatively with it, but I mean, I was obviously involved with it. And I don't remember feeling that way about it, but looking at it now, I thought, this is a load of old bollocks. I mean, when you think what you can see on television in that kind of type of show nowadays, it was a sort of joke.
It was almost jokey.
It's our sensibilities have changed, haven't they, I think?
But its tone was always kind of tongue-in-cheek. The Honor Blackman episodes are very different in style and tone because they had an hour to film them. It was very much in the kind of gritty spy. I mean, spies were a huge thing at this time, but when you get to the film series, which is the Diana Rigg first series, the tone very much changes, and you're kind of invited into this Avengers land,
slightly
if you like.
dystopian
It's a
world,
bit fey, it's a bit whimsical, it becomes more surreal as it goes on. So I suppose looking at it now, it looks a bit...
It's a bit try-hard.
Yes, but at the time, it was...
the bit at the beginning where he's shooting the beer cans.
Yes, it's all a little bit contrived, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's to do with, back in those days, actors came from drama schools, didn't they, where they were kind of taught the RP
and then they
way
go
of
for the
talking,
theatre,
and then they go for the theatre. So they were very accomplished. You know, their voice delivery was very powerful, and that was considered, I think, the way that you were supposed to be an actor at that point in time. But obviously, as times change, don't they, and acting styles change, and more modern series are kind of tend to be a bit more naturalistic acting. But there, it was all very much, this is the way you talk, and this is the way you deport yourself.
Plus,
so I think that's why it really jars today.
I think there was another problem, and as he's no longer with us, otherwise I would have kept quiet. But the problem with Patrick Macnee is that he couldn't act. I mean, he could do many things, but he could not act. You saw him, he was not an actor. I'm sorry. I mean, when you think of all those, I mean, Roger Moore used to play those sort of parts, but Roger was a brilliant actor. Patrick Macnee wasn't. He always looked so awkward.
Did he have a sense of humour?
Old Etonian.
Yes.
He wasn't big on a sense of humour.
Because Roger Moore had a great sense of humour.
Yes, great.
What I felt, even watching that one episode, I thought, I'm not sure that Patrick Macnee is sort of getting the funny nuances of this.
It's interesting to say about Patrick Macnee being an actor because he was about to give up acting when he got the part. But I think he'd done a documentary, produced a documentary, and then they offered him John Steed just as he was about to give up acting because he hadn't really been successful.
No, absolutely not.
Interesting.
You know, and then he stays with the show from the whole of the decade.
Yeah.
And then doesn't really do much.
No. I took him on in the latter part of his life when he was trying to get himself seriously respected as an actor on stage.
Right.
And the stage, I think, was just a little bit beyond him. He did a play in the West End called Softly Goldfish Mating, and he was starring in it. Patrick Macnee in Softly Goldfish Mating. The reviews were just so awful that I had to pretend to Patrick that I hadn't read them. I mean, he said to me, "Did you have a chance to see the review?" "No, I haven't."
God.
I will make a point of having a look at them, but I'm sure they will be good because it was a wonderful performance and a wonderful play, and you were so great. "You mean that?" I said, "Of course I mean that. It's just I felt maybe I wasn't at my best." "You were at your best. You don't need to worry about that, Patrick. You did as good as you could possibly have done, in light of the fact that you can't act." But I mean, obviously I didn't add the last bit.
That's interesting because Patrick Macnee always said the success of the Avengers was because of his female co-stars. He was always very, very self-effacing.
Yes, I think he was very sweet to them. Right. They all loved him.
Yes, yeah.
And I think if you'd asked them, they would have said, "Yes, you're right, Michael. He was a personality and he was very clever at what he did, but he wasn't really an actor."
Right.
Whatever that means.
In the Honor Blackman episodes where they have an hour to record it and it's recorded as live, basically, sometimes his performance can be a little, I'm going to get shot.
It can be a bit shaky.
A little bit shaky. Yeah. Yes. And often they're drinking champagne and brandy for real. Yeah. And he's got a sweat on. Clearly the drink's kick out a little bit. Just like, wow, this is... No, the wheels have come off, Pat, you know. Yeah.
So he definitely likes to drink, Pat.
The other thing that struck me immediately, because I'd forgotten it, and I realised that it was presumably in there for the sensibilities of the day, is that the female protagonists were married. So it was Mrs. Peel. So that sort of chopped out any notion of there being any kind of hanky-panky or other relationship, etc.
Yeah.
Although I think with the Honor Blackman character, her husband had died, so she was actually a widow.
Right. She was a widow.
Yeah.
Emma Peel was technically a widow because her husband had disappeared. He was a fighter pilot who had disappeared in the Amazon and eventually turns up in her final story and is the double of Patrick Macnee to the point of wearing a bowler hat and blah, blah, blah. And it's a little bit...
Because I was wondering about Steed. His sexuality just felt quite ambiguous to me. You know, is it ever alluded to? Right.
It gave him some kind of, because I think he's just fey, but he's always very much written as a ladies' man.
Yes.
Especially in the new Avengers where they really push it and it becomes quite inappropriate in lots of scenes. But certainly I think it's just probably his performance maybe gives that ambiguity.
Yes.
Not deliberately. And not as an acting choice.
He certainly wasn't a ladies' man. He was far too polite and old Etonian to... I mean, he liked to play that kind of, "Oh, God," and all that. But he wasn't really like that at all.
And he was a nudist, wasn't he? Pat Naturist.
Thereby hangs the tale.
Yeah. Have I segued into something seamlessly without realising
that? Before we get into that, though, I just want to say one other thing. It's interesting that you say his sexuality is ambiguous because I felt that the whole thing was so cliche-ridden. You had the cliche drunk, the cliche gay, the cliche foreign agent, the cliche baddie. Everything was cliched.
Yes,
the cliched woman running the dance. It was all a bit sort of on the nose, wasn't it? There was no subtlety
to it. It's broad
to it.
strokes, isn't it?
Very really broad strokes, yeah. And I realised that they're trying to tell a story in a short space of time. And the other thing was the unsubtlety of that dance sequence when they're swapping the numbers. You think, God, as if no one's going to notice that. It was so awful.
But again, it's if you buy into this kind of whimsy that they're creating, isn't it? And I think that's what. But again, it's just astonishing that it becomes such an iconic emblematic.
You actually said to me last night, it's amazing what we put up with back then and what we accepted.
Yeah, and if you think about the TV landscape, compared to other shows, it was probably stuck out like a...
Yeah.
And that's probably why it was so huge in America. You know, it's the only British show
because they loved it, didn't they?
Still the only British show that's been networked coast to coast in the States.
Wow.
You know, it was enormous over there.
Yeah.
It was sold to 72 countries. You know, huge in places like the Philippines and Germany. Absolutely adored it. France adored it.
Yeah.
You know.
So it obviously translated at the time.
Yeah, and maybe it's because of that style, maybe the look of it. Because it looks like nothing else, you know, the fashions of it, you know, Diana Rigg's clothes.
The whole thing was very stylised, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Diana Rigg's dresses, because when they released, you could buy them.
Yeah, the John Veron fashion pack. You could actually go into stores and buy her outfits. And there's some footage of Patrick Macnee at fashion shows with the models wearing her outfits.
Oh, wow, that's quite cool.
And then later on, his outfits are released in shops. And Pierre Cardin designed his suits until the final season, where he then designed his own outfits. You know, and he starts to... Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
I mean, can I just say, though, I mean, I love a bit of merch, so good on them for being early adopters of the merch situation.
Absolutely.
And wasn't Diana Rigg one of the first women on TV to wear a miniskirt?
If not the first woman to wear a miniskirt on TV, and would have her skirt hems raised, because at the beginning, you can see they're very much still below the knee.
There was one shot of her that left little to the imagination, wasn't there?
Yes, there
Saw
was.
right up her skirt at that point.
Oh, right, Dame Diana.
Hello.
Pop it away, love.
Hello. She had white tights on there.
Have we got time for me to tell a little anecdote?
Absolutely.
You mentioned nudism and Pat Macnee.
Please do.
Well, Pat Macnee was obsessed with the fact that he was overweight, and that's why
this was at the play.
That's why he thought softly goldfish mating didn't work too well, because he was overweight. I said, I think there might be one or two other minor issues, but okay. No, but I mean, I can lose weight. And I'm going back to America now, and I will prove to you that I can lose weight. Because he was, by then, quite porky. And I said, fine, Pat, well, you know, lovely to see you. Big hugs and goodbye. And then he goes back to America. And then I get a letter from him saying, you know, thank you so much for looking after me, because he's a very polite man. And he said, just to prove to you that I have lost weight, I enclose a couple of photos of myself, because I think I look, you know, already starting to look much better. And
there were about 6 or 7,
there are 6 pictures that he's taken of himself in a long, full-length mirror with nothing on. And I thought, right, well, there you are. But I did see the funny side of it. The day that I got this letter, I was having lunch with somebody, it doesn't matter who the somebody was, at the Garrick Club that I'm a member of. And I had lunch with this man, and we chatted about the business and all that sort of stuff. And then I, at the end, mentioned this anecdote. And he said, oh, that's so funny. Oh, that is amazing. And so funny. I said, actually, I've got the photos in it. And I got them out.
You got the letter. You got the whole thing.
Yes, I got the letter out. The letter and the photos. And he read them and thought it was hilarious. Then we went downstairs and had a drink in the bar after lunch. And we chatted and everything. And then I walked him out. And then we got a cab, shared a cab. I got back to the office and sort of fiddling around with stuff. And then I thought, oh, I must do something with those photos. And I thought, oh, shit, I've left them at the Garrick Club, which I had. And I thought, right, so what am I going to do about that? And, I'll go and pick them up, you know, in some point. There's no hurry. And then a couple of days later, I got a letter from the secretary of the Garrick Club saying, dear Mr. Whitehall, I believe the enclosed are yours, and I didn't want them to get into the wrong hands, she said. It was a she, actually, the secretary. And she said, "You'd please let me know that you've got them. I thought it was important that you received them. So there I've got all these pictures of Pat Macnee in the nude." What she must have thought of what I was sort of getting on with.
Oh, my God.
So I put them in my pocket, and that's actually the end of the story, because the next time I went into the garage, she was all doing a lot of sort of rub and pressing, you know. "Oh, good morning, Mr. Whitehall," with a sort of wink, you know. And I said, "Good morning, Catherine."
Well, I mean, that's giving me a whole new perspective on John Steed, let me tell you.
Yes.
Gosh, she's so...
Now, Michael has a book coming out. And he's done a homage to John Steed.
He has.
Because that is the cover. I don't know whether you want to show it to your gazers.
You can probably put overlay this in the final thing. But
Sorry,
I'm going to pop it
slightly
up here.
odd colour. But the actual cover will be blue. It's coming out in October.
Steed
in 1960, similar time to we're talking about there on the left, and then today's Steed.
Wow, gosh!
Because you have a bowler hat.
I always wore a bowler hat.
Yeah.
When were they taken?
So that was, I don't know where that one was taken, but that is probably about 1965.
Yeah, that was when I was...
and that was taken in at the BBH in the field at the bottom of the garden.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And so when's this coming out, Michael?
So this is coming out in October. Sorry.
October.
Yeah, October. I think it's coming out in October. And
in paperback.
A lot of anecdotes in there.
Very anecdotal heavy.
Yeah.
Fabulous, some of which we've heard today, which is
meant to be funny.
Yeah.
And you're going on tour, aren't you?
We are. We're taking the Wittering Whitehalls out on tour live.
Wow. Where are we starting? When does it start?
Right. For that, I'm going to have to go and get my diary. Is that all right? Oh, no, I might have it on here, actually. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Well, we've not really talked too much about the Avengers, but I don't think it matters.
No.
I think we've covered the topics that needed to be covered.
We probably think we've done.
I think the problem with the Avengers is that you can't talk about it for very long.
Dr. Lee could talk.
Could you talk about
Dr. Lee.
And to be fair, my favourites are the Honor Blackman stories, which are very different to these stories. Yes.
I looked after Honor. She was
still my beating heart.
She was quite a tough lady.
I've heard that.
And I was her agent towards the latter moments of her career.
Right. Yeah.
But she was quite... I liked her enormously, but she was quite formidable.
Yes, we will post a link, gazers, to the episode that we watched. It is well worth a watch if you...
It was.
Yes, definitely have a drink.
Yeah, have a drink.
Yeah.
Or some hallucinogenic drugs, whichever you feel you might need to get through it.
Yeah, because clearly the writer had Right, I'm going to give you our tour dates.
Please do.
So, October the 4th, we are doing a tryout at Winchester for charity for the Winchester Hospice, which my sister-in-law does a lot of work for. Then October the 8th, Stoke. October the 9th, York. October the 17th, Guildford. October the 18th, Richmond. October 24th, Oxford. November 7th, Birmingham. November the 8th, Bradford. November the 9th, Crewe. November 27th, Harrogate. November the 28th, Stockton. And we're finishing up on the 29th of November at Salford.
Gosh.
We'll have to come.
Oh, yes, please. Yes.
Something for everyone
You will
there,
notice
I would
that
say.
there's a few gaps in there. That's because Mr. Whitehall and I don't move at pace.
No.
Now. We need a little bit of a rest. We do a couple, and then we have a bit of a rest, and then we do a few more.
I haven't got over our Australia tour yet, but we did with Jack.
Was that intense?
Earlier
It was
this
intense.
year.
That was. It ended up being sort of.
I mean, where did we go in Australia? Remind me.
We started in Singapore, then we had a bit of a warm-up situation in Wollongong, the Gong, at Newcastle and in Sydney. Then we went to New Zealand. We did Christchurch, 2 nights in Christchurch, which we loved, Auckland, and then Wellington. Then we came back. We did a couple of nights in Canberra. Then we did Melbourne, then we did Sydney, then we did Adelaide, then we did Brisbane, then we did Perth, and then we ended up in Dubai.
I'm exhausted.
Wow.
When we left Perth, Jack said, I put in one more date, Daddy, because I thought, because you'll be very tired at the end of the... Just a stop-off, not a date. Sorry, I said date. Just to give you a little break.
For 4 days.
In Dubai. You have 4 days in Dubai just to unwind before we go back to London. We got to Dubai.
He put a show in.
Jack Whitehall, Michael Whitehall, Hilary, the Whitehalls come to Dubai. I thought, you little...
That's fun for you, isn't it?
It is.
But we had a
devil.
We had a great...
We
got back in... When did we get back?
We got back in February. We did 6 weeks away. It was wonderful. The people were so thrilled to see us.
Yeah.
They were so kind. We met we did meet and greets and met lots of people.
We were so pleased to see them.
Yeah, we were. It was great.
Well, we'll have to come to one of your shows for sure. Richmond.
Definitely. Yeah.
Richmond.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you.
Fun.
Yeah,
Well, Stokes are very nice, apparently.
Yeah, Crewe.
It's not
I'm
Crewe.
doing nothing.
Where are you from?
I'm from Scarborough in Yorkshire.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
well, they can come to Harrogate or York.
Love Scarborough.
Yes, York.
Yeah.
Nice.
When
Do you
I
like
was at
Scarborough?
when I was at Ampleforth,
Yes.
Scarborough was a sort of dream location to go to if you could get away from the monks.
The producer that Jack has a production company, and his
Yes.
line producer, wonderful woman. She has a house at Scarborough. She's out there.
Yeah.
We love Scarborough.
It is nice. It's nice when the sun
Yeah.
shines. In winter,
is
it can be
nice.
pretty brutal.
Yes.
Although she says it's quite dramatic in winter.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. If you're kind of watching from a nice warm room
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
you wouldn't want to be out in it. But yeah.
Do you ever go back to?
Yes.
Do you
my
have
mum and
family
dad.
there?
My mum and dad live there. Yeah.
Oh,
My
right.
brother
Alan
who lives
Ayckbourn.
there. I used to work at the Stephen Joseph
Oh, did
Theatre
you?
behind the bar. But what was really good about the Stephen Joseph Theatre is if you were interested in directing or acting, whenever he was rehearsing, they had like a little balcony, and whoever worked at the theatre was
Could go
allowed
and
to go
wa-
in
oh, what?
any time and
That's
just watch
amazing.
him at
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Which was great, and obviously he staged all his premieres there before
Yeah,
they
yeah.
went worldwide. So yeah, it was a really nice place to
Amazing.
work. That's
Bet you saw some amazing casts
yes,
too. Yeah.
yeah, really good ones. Yeah,
Where did you grow up?
Northumberland.
Oh, did you? Whereabouts?
A little town called Morpeth.
Oh, Morpeth.
Which is
Yes.
like 15 miles north of Newcastle.
Yeah. Where's the accent?
It's kind of gone.
Oh, you did have it.
I did have it.
Yeah.
I can still put it on if I think about it like.
Oh,
But
nice. Yeah, okay.
I have to engage my brain to.
We are going to Stockton. Sort of
That's still
vague.
quite a
I know.
long way from.
Yeah, we haven't quite got up that far yet, have we? No. That coastline is stunning, isn't it?
Yeah. We used to go throw ourselves in there when we were kids in the North Sea, but
Yeah.
my God, it's cold.
it's on the border, isn't it, Northumberland
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Scotland?
Yeah.
Because the Northumberland National Park is the most northern
Yes.
national park. I only know
Yes.
this because it was in the pub quiz the other night.
Right.
And we
Okay.
have protected skies up there, so the
Oh.
stars are amazing if you go to the
Oh,
national park.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I did Catherine Cookson up in Hexham.
Yes, Hexham's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
Dinner of Herbs.
Dinner of herbs.
yeah,
Eat as a babby.
I've got a little bit of useless information
Yeah.
that you will particularly like.
Go on.
Winston Churchill, of whom I have a considerable amount of
Obsessed.
obsession with. And do you know where he lived before he moved into his first big house, before he became Prime Minister in his first government? Do you know where he lived?
No.
He lived in Morpeth Mansions.
Oh.
Oh, what? What about that? There
That
you
is
go.
trivia.
That's a
It's
good
so
pub
weird
kit
because
quiz.
yeah, there's because there's also the Morpeth Arms on the south bank next to Millbank, and I've
Oh, is
never
there?
understood why Morpeth crops up in a couple
Yeah.
of
And
places.
why did that
in-
block of flats just by Chelsea Bridge,
Right.
which is still there,
Yes,
Morpeth
I
Mansions?
cross Chelsea Bridge quite regularly. I will have to look the next
There it is.
time.
You go over the
I
bridge
think-
and it's on the right.
Should there be an apartment in the Morpeth Mansion?
yes.
Oh, it's got my name on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming up to
Yes.
do this.
Loved it.
Yeah, we've loved
Absolutely
it
loved
too.
it.
Really nice.
And we'll have to do a return trip to the Wittering Whitehalls where you will have to then give advice
yes,
to people.
We can do that.
You
We
could
can
do
do
that,
that.
couldn't
Yeah,
you?
We could do that.
Okay.
Yes,
We'll
can do that.
it. We'll make it happen.
Probably completely wrong advice, but
Well,
we can do it. Yeah.
Will not surprise you to learn that we give very different advice. Perfect.
And what are we doing next episode?
What? Oh,
Remember?
I know
yeah,
what
what
we're
are
doing.
you doing?
Is
Are
it
You Being Served?
Are You Being Served?
I loved Are You Being Served?
Yeah.
Yes, we like to flip between genres and flip between years and stuff. We're getting our telly TARDIS and just flip backwards and forwards. So Are You Being Served? I think we'll probably talk a lot more about problematic elements to Are You Being Served.
I think there are quite a lot in there.
Yes.
If you were doing a double entendre show at any time, that would be probably your number one choice.
There's not much double about those entendres.
A lot of entendres.
Very single.
A straight entendre, and almost every remark was an entendre.
I mean, timeless, because who doesn't laugh at Mrs. Slocum's Pussycat?
Exactly.
I was roaring. I watched the episode the other day, and I was roaring with laughter.
It never gets old.
I'm free.
Yes, absolutely.
And the great thing about that is it's a very good instruction to comedy actors is don't go over the top.
Yes.
Keep it quiet and controlled, and don't try and upstage your fellow actors.
Wise words.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right.
And on that note,
thank you, Gazers, for letting us come and join in the fun.
So next week we are doing Are You Being Served.
Yes.
So don't forget to follow us, Gazers, on our socials at Podcast Gaze on TikTok and Instagram.
yes, you can also email us at theproblematicgaze@gmail.com.
Don't forget to follow the show, because I'm told that is the buzzword.
Yes.
You've got to follow the show, Gazers.
And also
follow the Wittering Whitehalls.
follow the Wittering Whitehalls.
Yes, follow the show. We are an independent podcast, so we do everything ourselves, which is why it's even more of an honour for you guys to come along and share our podcast with us. So until next time, Dr. Lee.
Au reservoir.
Au reservoir.